Her message lit up my screen at 2:47 a.m. A single notification. No greeting, no explanation, just a photo. My wife, smiling, leaning into a man I had never seen before. A bar behind them. Her hand on his chest like it belonged there. The caption underneath was, "Accidental, I think." Probably sent to the wrong person. Or maybe she simply forgot who she pretended to be married to. Had a great night. He gets me in ways no one else ever has. I stared at the words until they blurred, until the room felt too still. Nothing moved except the small pulse in my thumb resting on the edge of the phone. It throbbed like a warning. I didn't reply, not then, not after. Instead, I placed the phone face down on the table and listened to the silence tighten around me. The way silence always tightens right before a truth surfaces. Slow, suffocating, merciless. Something inside me shifted. Not anger, not jealousy. Just a clean, cold vacancy. A realization that the life I thought I built had already been dismantled long before the message arrived. And she had left the blueprint of her betrayal right in my hands. The next morning, she moved around the kitchen with her usual soft efficiency, hair tied, sleeves pulled up, humming a nameless tune. Like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't handed me the fracture of our marriage through a glowing rectangle. "Rough night?" she asked, sliding coffee toward me. I watched the steam rise between us, curling like smoke from a slow-burning fuse. "You were out late," I said. A simple statement, nothing loaded. She smiled, small, distracted, practiced. "Just drinks with coworkers, you know how it gets." Coworkers, right. The man in the photo had his arm around her waist like he'd memorized the curve of her body. I nodded because silence is more revealing than suspicion. Silence makes people talk, or lie, often both. Throughout the day, pieces clicked together in my mind. The sudden nights out, the muted phone calls, the way she had started dressing differently, bolder, sharper, like someone trying to impress a new audience. But I didn't let my thoughts run, not yet. Betrayal isn't uncovered by emotion, it's uncovered by precision. I revisited the message she sent. I studied the photo, the timestamp, her location setting, the shadows in the background, even the reflection in the bar window, where the outline of another person stood, someone familiar but unplaceable. And with each detail, denial melted into quiet certainty. Something was happening behind my back. Something she believed I was too blind or too trusting to see. She was wrong. The next few days became an exercise in observation. She showered longer. She checked her phone constantly. She smiled at nothing. I learned to mirror calmness, the way predators slow their breath before they strike, not out of aggression, but strategy. While she slept, I examined her call logs. I didn't touch anything. I didn't scroll too far, just enough to see the pattern. Late-night calls to an unsaved number. 15 minutes, 20, 42. I copied the number, ran it through a search tool. A name surfaced, a man she worked with. Not the man in the photo. Interesting. So there were layers, a double life beneath a double life. I ordered a DNA kit, not for a child, not for paternity, but for her. She had always been careless with her hairbrush, a few strands. Enough for a comparison test I'd requested anonymously from a private lab. I wasn't looking for lineage, I was looking for location markers, regional indicators that didn't match where she claimed to have been during her work trips. If her weekends away were lies, her DNA would betray her, and it did. The report arrived 2 days later, not from the city she swore she traveled to, not even close. There were markers from a coastal region her company didn't even operate in. She had been going to her him. And the man in the photo? He wasn't the coworker she called late at night. He was someone else entirely. The patterns aligned with frightening simplicity. She wasn't just cheating. She was crafting an entirely different reality, built on lies she assumed I'd never question. But I believe in evidence. I believe in silence. And silence, when used correctly, becomes a weapon. I gathered everything: call logs, location data, the photo, the DNA travel discrepancy. I placed them in a folder. Then I waited. The truth arrived on a Thursday morning. She walked into the living room, towel around her neck, hair dripping, humming that same empty tune. I sat on the couch, folder on my lap. "Can we talk?" I asked. She froze for a fraction of a second. "Barely noticeable, unless you were watching for it." I was. "Sure," she said, too casually. I handed her the folder. She opened it. Page by page, her face drained. Call log, photo, travel report. She swallowed hard. Where did you get all this?" "Does it matter?" I asked. She shook her head as if trying to rattle herself awake from a bad dream. Her hands trembled. Mine didn't. "I can explain," she whispered. I almost pitied her. Almost. But pity is a luxury betrayed people can't afford. "I'm leaving," I said. Not shouted, not emotional, just factual. Her knees buckled. "Wait, please, just talk to me." "Talk about what?" I asked. "Which version of your life do you want me to respond to?" She sank onto the couch, crying into her hands. Her tears felt strangely distant, like watching rain fall on someone else's window. I placed one final item on the table: her wedding ring. I had taken it from her jewelry dish when she showered earlier. "You took that off a long time ago," I said quietly. "You just forgot to tell me." Her face twisted in a mix of shock and guilt. She reached for me. I stepped back. "This isn't a fight," I told her. "It's a conclusion." She broke, completely, and I walked past her, slow, deliberate, unhurried. Revenge doesn't always require fire. Sometimes all it takes is leaving someone alone with the truth. I packed light, just the essentials. The air outside felt different, clearer, colder, honest. I didn't look back. There was nothing behind me worth seeing. People think betrayal feels like being stabbed. It doesn't. It feels like waking up. As I stepped into the quiet street, I realized something simple and devastating. She had destroyed our marriage long before I ever investigated her. All I did was turn on the light. I closed the car door. The night swallowed the sound, and with it, the last remaining piece of who I used to be.